दोस्तों, इस क्लास में आपको डिक्टेशन प्रोवाइड करूंगा मैं 80 WPM पर SSC और DSSSB के लिए जो स्पेशल मैंने मैटर तैयार किए हैं उसकी आपको डिक्टेशन प्रोवाइड कर रहा हूं 80 WPM पर। बी रेडी फॉर इट।
Let me draw the attention of my honorable friends to one or two good things we have done in regard to this question of the relationship between the center and the provinces. We have dealt very carefully with the possibility of a vacuum in governmental power. There will be no chance of a defect of power so far as the enumeration of powers is concerned, even without going to the residuary power, which would leave a vacuum in the field of governmental action. We have avoided to the extent possible the possibility of matters being taken to court on the ground that there is overlapping of federal and units powers which are mutually exclusive. This is one of the defects of the Canadian Constitution. The powers enumerated under Section 91 and Section 92 of the Canadian Constitution are supposed to be mutually exclusive, that it has resulted in a lot of overlapping, or to use a legal term, in the creation of a twilight zone between the central field and the provincial field, and has also resulted in a large number of judicial decisions. We have taken care, while copying these federal constitutions, to avoid the pitfalls into which the Canadian Constitution has fallen. Again, so far as the concurrent field is concerned, we have made a considerable improvement both on the Government of India Act and the Australian Constitution, the only other constitution where concurrent powers are specifically mentioned. So far as the Australian Constitution is concerned, its concurrent field has given rise to a lot of conflict. There is no clear demarcation of division of jurisdiction in the field of executive action. We have tried to avoid these defects, which were copied in the Government of India Act, by the wording of Article 73. Though that particular article was the subject of a lot of discussion in this house, I still feel that that is one of the wisest decisions which have been taken by this house. In this, we have avoided the ambiguity of Section 126 of the Government of India Act. Here, under the new constitution, whenever the center interferes in the concurrent field in the matters of legislation, if it wants to have the executive power, it must take it explicitly. I am laying emphasis on this point because of the charge made here by honorable members that the provincial governments are left without any responsibility. I would like to say, even if it savors of boasting, that in the drafting committee I have been rather keen to see that there is no blurring of responsibility. Some members in this house have been very keen that the responsibility of the governments concerned should be clear, and I think this article avoids blurring of responsibility. Another question that I would like to deal with is the question of the fiscal power, the sharing of fiscal powers between the units and the center. The charge has been very generally made in this house that the provinces have been left without any resources and the center has taken away everything. I am afraid I must join issue with this statement that is either made merely because it has got a propagandist value or is made from a superfluous examination of the position as is revealed by the Constitution. What happens today in the provinces is, here I do not want to enter into any controversy with provincial finance ministers, that the provincial finance minister, in order to support their own financial policies, have been saying, we have no money, the center would not give us any money, the center has got all sources of taxation. I have heard recently one or two provincial finance ministers making the statement that after the introduction of the new constitution, the provinces will have no financial power whatsoever. I am laying particular emphasis on this criticism because I think it is wholly wrong, wholly inaccurate, and even mischievous. In fact, this constitution has not made any fundamental change so far as the apportionment of the finances is concerned between the center and the units from the scheme of the Government of India Act. As honorable members of this house know, we have not been able to have a complete and comprehensive examination of the question. There has been no taxation inquiry in recent times. You, sir, appointed an expert committee. It had naturally very limited terms of reference, and their report was made in a perfunctory sort of way. Therefore, we had to adopt the scheme of the Government of India Act more or less. Now, I would like to mention that in a conference between the finance ministers and premiers of the provinces and the states, and some of the ministers of the central government and the drafting committee, I put forward the suggestion that the difference between agricultural and non-agricultural property, so far as direct taxes are concerned, may be done away with, so that it would help in putting more money in the poor, and that the entire income from income tax on agricultural income can be handed over to the provinces. Stop. दोस्तों इसी के साथ ही डिक्टेशन फिनिश होती है। उम्मीद है आप लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे से लिखा होगा। कंटिन्यू मेहनत करते रहिए। आपसे मुलाकात करूंगा अगली क्लास में अगली ट्रांसक्रिप्शन के साथ। तब तक के लिए बाय बाय, टेक केयर।